This week we are talking about the Fortune article that says women are driving the labor shortage and experts have identified a crucial solution. Now, this article was posted February 18th, 2022, written by Chloe Berger. Now, Summer, what is the crucial solution for reversing this labor shortage where women are adversely impacted?
Well, I think we need to start first by, just kind of addressing the current state. So, with the pandemic, it's no secret that women more than men were severely impacted just for the sake of needing to take time off for childcare. And so, that's where kind of the root of this issue stems from. And there was a report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics that came out recently. And on one hand, there was great news. It was that men have actually recouped their pandemic related job loss, which is amazing. But unfortunately for women, there are still more than 1 million fewer women in the workforce than in February of 2020. So that was pretty alarming. So if, you're thinking about just the labor shortage as a whole, and who's impacted, there's no secret, it's women. And so there are companies that are, taking a very direct approach to addressing this. And this article actually talks about one of the companies and what they're doing. But before I dive into more about the solution, Joey, what are your thoughts on just the pandemic's impact on women in the workforce? What are trends that you're seeing or just general thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna tread lightly on this episode here, or this topic rather, because I don't want to be misconstrued as mansplaining. So I'll throw that out there. But I think the unfortunate thing that we're seeing in the workplace is this notion of invisible work. The idea that there's work that is very important for us to have at home, in our jobs, that women are doing more than men, but aren't getting compensation, or credit or compensation for it. And so when we think about a typical family that says, hey, our kids are home from school and somebody has to watch them, it's usually not going to be the dad. I mean, I started this by saying, I'm a good dad in 45 minute spurts, right? So mom already knows, dad's probably not the best person. So unfortunately, we're seeing that happen more often than not. Thankfully, kids are back in school. It's safer, so we can reopen those floodgates for women to come back into the role. But I just think it's interesting and fascinating because the research shows that women are getting degrees at faster rates than men. They're pursuing their education at faster rates than men. So it isn't an issue of competency. We've got to get to the bottom of what it is and figure out ways that we can bring women back into the workplace so that we right size this ship.
Absolutely. And this article actually ties into some of the work that we do with our clients who are really focused on being part of this solution. Because if you reflect back on prior episodes where we've talked about what are some things that companies can do to retain their team members, that's key, right? So if you already have women in your workforce, then you should be making, taking action to ensure that you are retaining all your team members, but really have a strategy that ensures that your women are supported, knowing that they are kind of the first to have to fill that childcare need in most households. Not in this article, but one of the other thoughts that I had around it is, just general concerns and wanting to make it part of our conversation about women and pay as the result of being out of the workforce. There's been a lot of emphasis on equal pay.
Mhm.
And then, of course, we have this additional challenge with, women being out of the workforce for an extended period of time, not necessarily by choice, but necessity. I think that that's, while not mentioned in the article, something that companies really need to keep their eyes on as well, to ensure that they're not like adversely impacted,
Yep.
when we need to be moving forward on that issue. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what one company is doing that's mentioned in this article, Snyder Electric. And one of the things that they're doing is essentially a return to work program. And just the nuts and bolts of it are that they are matching job seekers that have taken a break from the workforce, primarily due to the pandemic, and matching them with internal opportunities. And the goal is not just a regular hire, but rather to identify those that have some of the foundational education, and experience, but maybe yet aren't not yet qualified to hire directly into that role. So what they're doing is they're training them, they're building skills with the goal of helping them find a full-time role within their company after 6 months. So here's the great thing is that the return to work program isn't like solely for women. It's for everybody. But to really focus on this issue at hand right now, they're saying the current applicants that we're taking into our program for the first round right now must be women to help kind of fill their company goals that they set actually prior to the pandemic to ensure that they were focusing their hiring efforts on women. So really, really cool thing. And I could see a lot of companies that we work with, Joey, wanting to do something similar. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So, Snyder Electric is a pretty massive organization. But one of the reasons why I love our show and our company in general is that our thought leadership exists to make these big topics and big ideas um, palatable and actionable for smaller teams that we serve.
Mm-hmm.
And so the takeaway here for me is that if you have a goal or a quota, you're gonna have to create your own system to reach that
Mm-hmm.
goal or quota. And that's absolutely doable, whether you're a
Mm-hmm.
team of 50,000, a team of 500, a team of 50, or a team of five.
Mm-hmm.
It takes intentionality. And so that's something that we help our customers with is intentionality around creating programs like this. But absolutely, I could see small firms
Mm-hmm.
who have set goals, whether it's around hiring and empowering women, hiring and empowering minority candidates at executive or mid-level management positions. It just takes the intentionality, the
Mm-hmm.
focus, and the commitment to see it through, and not just to make it lip service in the month of
Mm-hmm.
March, but to say, hey, our commitment is to seeing women back in the workforce in March,
Mm-hmm.
April, May, June, July, so on and
Mm-hmm.
so forth. So I definitely believe we would be able to help a company reach their goals of empowering more women to return to work.
Mm-hmm.
And kudos to Snyder Electric for being a case study on what that looks like to be successful.
It was really cool to see that this was part of their initiatives prior to the pandemic. But I think that, they're really getting a lot of attention because what they're doing is so relevant to, kind of solving one of the major issues right now, in the workforce. And as you said, kudos to them because their goal in doing so was to try to compete with some of the big players, that, previously it was more difficult for them from a recruiting standpoint. So by implementing this program, they're now able to attract candidates that they may not have otherwise. So really great play on their part. And I'd love to work with any company that's looking at doing something similar because I've got some great ideas and we've got a powerful team. I'm sure that we can make it happen. So if you're out there, give us a ring because we would love to chat more about this.
Yeah, you can give us a ring by reaching out to us at jumpstart-hr.com/contact. It's the best way to learn more about our firm and schedule time for a free 15-minute consult with our team.